was called Kosovo. And this has the tenseness because during the World War II, the Albanians sided with the Germans to actually slaughter and kill people, and yeah, that was not nice. That's the current political situation, and for Albania,
And these people got along until you said something, man.
they used to. I think they avoided each other.
It's like, okay, Soviet Union's over. Why are we still doing this?
Hmm.
This is crazy.
Yeah, Trump did try to hash things out with his buddy.
Like, it's like NATO is there to protect Europe, right? From who? Here we go. We all.
Hey guys, welcome to Unidentified Podcast. This is another topic, and yeah, basically today we're gonna talk about Croatia and Albania, and this is due to I actually have a story on that, and it's a quite funny one. But as a reminder, don't tell your stories about open wounds. That's just to put it in front. And what
Say
happened
that
was
again. I'm sorry. What is
don't
it?
talk about stories. Stories. Don't make story. Don't talk about stories that still are open wounds.
Okay.
So basically, I was sitting at the canteen, and we had at work, and we had a like a colleague get together, New Year thingy, and I talked with some people, and finally got to a guy and a girl that were sitting at the table, and I joined them, and I was talking like, okay, yeah, where you from? One said, I'm from Macedonia, and I asked the girl from, oh, where are you from? And she says, I'm from Kosovo, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. And then I linked it up, like, because it was in the Kosovo and Macedonia are around the same area. You can call it the Balkan area in Europe.
Oh, these are random people, or these are people that were together?
Uh, they work at the same company. They work
Gotcha.
together, actually, in the same team. And she says, I'm from Kosovo.
Hmm?
And I said, isn't that close? Isn't that Balkan? And she says, yes, we're actually neighbors, if you put it like that. So I was like, oh, okay, now then you are culturally and some inclined to have the same, yeah, background and understanding of different topics and the same. So while I said that, the guy says, yeah, but or the girl says actually, yeah, but we're not really, we are Albanians, and Albanians come from Illyrians, from old ancient Rome, Greek times. I was like, okay, good to know. And then the guy came and like asked the question, but what do you think about the current Kosovo and Croatian thing right now? And it became a whole political subject I wasn't aware of. So I'm sitting there watching these two go at it, back and forth, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that either. And I didn't know that. So based on that story, I wanted to do my due diligence and just check in from what is actually the past that has the current situation, like the tenseness, how it is. And yeah, basically avoid running into discussions like this in the future. So basically, Illyrians, like I said it, have a past in Rome. They don't know actually where they come from, but around 3000 BC, they migrated towards Europe from the Russian plains over at, yeah, before it was known what it is today. And they traveled close to Greece, next to Italy, to put it like that, on the coast. They settled there. Then the Roman Empire started, and they called the area Illyria, or Illyricum, I think. And that area became later known as Albania. So Albania is nowadays a culture that's quite big, but always had the same roots, like people that settled there like 3,000 years ago. Now come, or 5,000 years ago actually, because we're in 2000s. Now comes the Macedonian guy, and he tells about his story and where he comes from. And actually, he is a descendant of the Slavic people, or Slovakian and Slavic people, are you saying? And they also migrated from the Ottoman Empire, that was before the Roman Empire, I think, or during the Roman Empire as well. And they migrated towards the same area, kind of, the Balkan, this is called right now, which is around Greece, I think Ukraine, Yugoslavia, there's some countries in there. And yeah, they settled, but as they were people that were quite migratory, because of they were at the fronts of different wars. You had the Roman Empire, you had the Ottoman Empire in Turkey, you had up north the Austrian-Prussian Empire, that's the German Empire actually. So they were constantly being displaced and misplaced. So they were constantly being, they didn't really have a home settlement, to put it like that. They were used to traveling. So that's how they call the Romans are migratory people, and they still survived, or they called themselves Romans or Romanian because of the old Roman Empire that was in that area during the time. So basically, I did a whole search on where did they came from, what the past was, and what I saw was that during that time there was a clash already, I think around 300 BC. There came a clash between those two cultures, and neither one of them wanted to accept the other, but both wanted to overthrow and I wouldn't say possess, because you have the Croatians or the Slavic people or the Macedonians were Roman Catholic, I think, and the Albanians were from another, I think Muslim or I don't know which, but they had a different religion, and because of this, they constantly clashed. And this clash came also back in the 1940s, when the World War II was going on. The Kosovan people, which are actually part of Croatia, but there are Albanian people that live in that area and that have lived there for centuries. So those people still believe they are part of Albania, but at the same time are in this area which is called Croatia, or used to be Croatia. Now it's called Kosovo. And this has the tenseness because during the World War II, the Albanians sided with the Germans to actually slaughter and kill people, and that was not nice. And that was the latest of a lot of issues involving politics and people taking over and people wanting their people to be at the top of the helm. And I triggered that without knowing about this past, but now I know, and I will definitely watch myself going forward.
But this is my thing. Like, what's the current relationship, like relation between one another? Because usually when you want to overthrow or take over a land, there's a benefit to it. Why are we still fighting then? Is one side rich on this and the other one not, or is one of them is more poor? What's the current issue? Like, how does that translate to today?
Yeah, today, actually, Albania is part of the NATO nations, and if you can put it into wording, Croatia is not. Croatia is one of the only countries that's in that area that's not part of the NATO.
Okay.
And in that sense, you can already see which sides they
Yeah.
party with.
Yeah.
So that's the current political situation. And for Albania,
And these people got along until you said something, man.
they used to. I think they avoided each other for most of the time, and I think they're still avoiding one another.
Okay. I think it's silly that we decide to like go with some issues that you have no control over, like personally, like taking it so personal as you and I as individuals. You know what I mean? I just think it's silly. I mean, they have to have their reasons, and I'm sure to them those reasons are good enough. But look at the whole picture, man. Like, no matter what your opinion is, or no matter what you do, it's not gonna fix the issue. Why not fix your emotions? Why not check yourself as a human? We get so involved in these bigger than us issues. Like, that's why I say what I say about like this whole war and stuff like that. Why not, if this person has an issue with this person, why we don't put them in a stadium and have them like hash it out? I don't know.
It's
Way more complicated.
culture. You're protecting your people, your culture, your sense of identity is also linked to it.
Yeah, I get it. I can't hear you. Oh, okay. Now I hear you.
Yeah. The big part that I left out is that currently there's also a lot of Albanians or Kosovo people are allegedly. This is what I heard from one of the guy, the Macedonian Croatian guy. He experiences right now, till this day and age, that they're raping people, that they're burning churches, that they are doing.
You started with that, man. You should have started with like.
My bad. But he got heated in discussion, and the discussion got heated because of this is still something that's currently happening.
I see. That's why I wasn't understanding the link between like then and now. Like, how is it current? How? Okay, that's very important. You almost left that out, man.
So the Albanians are the ones in NATO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Albanians are the bad guys. Okay. All right.
In short, you can put it like that.
Okay.
But they sided with the bigger forces, or they're trying to side with the bigger forces.
I mean, when you really think about it, like, what is the purpose of NATO in current times in 2023? This is ridiculous. And I believe this is why Trump tried to get us out of this. Like, this doesn't even make sense.
Trump tried to get you guys out of the NATO.
Yeah, he was
you guys created the NATO.
Funding. Yeah, but we created it after World War II, Cold War. It's like, okay, Soviet Union's over. Why are we still doing this?
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy.
Yeah, Trump did try to, hash things out with his buddy.
Like, it's like NATO is there to protect Europe, right? From who? From who? They're the aggressor. Like, that's really what it is.
That's the whole point of it, and that's what you see happening in those border countries that are actually in the middle of these battles, because one side is being pulled towards the I wouldn't call it liberalist, but communist or dictatorial way of living, or socialist as well, and the other is the democratic way, or the hiding behind the fact that people choose their leaders, but
they're choosing their leaders. Yeah, okay, Nagai. Okay.
I know. This is also me being sarcastic. That's why I put it into parentheses, because real democracy doesn't exist. It's a fairy tale that started in Rome and the Romanian Empire, and it was a good idea, but in
No,
In reality, it doesn't.
no, it can exist. You could do it, but the trick is you don't let everybody vote. Like most people shouldn't have the right to vote. They shouldn't have it.
But then it's not a Democrat. Democracy.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that's also a mistake.
Then it's a
because
republic because we don't actually have democracy. We have a republic. You should not let the common man should not be allowed to vote. I really don't think he should.
doesn't that also create division?
Yeah, well, there's always division. There's always going to be people who are more energetic, who are smarter, who are more capable. This is life. That's always going to exist. And the reason why I say you shouldn't let the common man vote is because the common man doesn't even know what's going on. And he can easily be swayed and tricked by celebrities and talk show hosts and comedians. It's like, what's the point?
Fair enough. I do get your point.
Yeah.
Or a free cell phone. It's like, come on, man. Obama did back in the day.
I think the same happens, and if you look at nowadays with all the things that we do look and the whole system that's put in place, we can actually say we are part of a bigger system. We are part of the whole puppet show, to put it like that.
I'll be honest with you, man. The Chinese system makes the most sense, man. Like, that's how it should be ran. Like, don't even play no jokes.
That's next level communism.
No, it actually makes sense because they vote, but it's only the CCP. Like, they're the ones who have the power. There's no illusions. They vote who the next guy is going to be. And the regular people, these matters don't concern you.
No.
So who decides who's capable of
like
choosing
Xi Jinping, right? If you put him or Biden in a room, I guarantee you Xi Jinping will run circles around any of our leaders. He'll run circles around us. You tell me that dude's not capable. That
run
dude
circles around our current leader.
No, leaders, all of them, all of them.
Sorry.
I mean, this dude who grew up on a farm and made his way all the way to the top of the CCP. I guarantee this is a very capable person.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But capable in what? And that's the question. Is that something that calls for humanity, or that can speak for the whole?
I think
humanity?
he's doing what's right for the Chinese people. That's what I think.
But how, Ed,
right for
let's start by saying this: like, who decide who's capable of like choosing their leader? Like, how you decide that? Who makes a test?
I'm telling you right now why people aren't, because most people they're not like intelligent enough.
I get it. So how do you regulate that?
They don't even know their own history. It's like, how can you let these people, like, why would you have any type of
history? That depends on how you look at it, because history is distorted. Like, let's be honest with you. History is in favor of whoever's telling the story. You understand?
But like, if I were creating this my fictional country, like, most people would not have the right to vote, straight up. But like, hey, you just worry about what you gotta worry about. We got this.
That's called totalitarianism.
You see, none of our point of views is complete, man.
But here's the thing: if you just have standard people who don't know how to think or use logic or rational thought, and they're just not very intelligent,
what makes me a standard person? What makes me intelligent? If we base things, if we base a test on what you know, yeah, I'm gonna fail your test.
It's not about knowing something; it's actually knowing how to think and knowing how. Let's say you're being deceived.
That's exactly his point. Yeah.
Most people will just vote a particular way because a celebrity told them to do it.
Yeah,
that's why
I agree.
Influence a certain.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah. I agree.
What I'm saying is, you're actually protecting democracy, because an evil person can go pay off Jay-Z and Beyonce to go out there and vouch for him, and then people say, okay.
Agreed.
So you're protected.
I agree.
Yeah.
But that doesn't go for your average person, just for your average person. Everybody chooses what path to take depending on how it benefits me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is the discussion we already had way before this, that we stretch the reality of normal. We, as a group, as if people follow us, we become the normal, but we define what is normal. by the things
Yeah.
that we talk about, by the
Yes.
things we do, by the way we
Absolutely.
act. And
Yeah.
because of that, the person that's in power will think he is capable, but who's there to control them, to check on them? Like, why are you capable enough to?
I think that's why governments make this facade, in my opinion, right? Like this fake situation where you get to choose who is gonna be up there for a certain amount of time, and we're gonna do this. Oh yeah, it sounds like it's good for you. I think that's why the government, when it comes to their turn, usually they don't do what what they said they were gonna do. I just said that to say that, but I think this is best to do because we don't trust you to make the choices. Does that make sense? So they just do because I think I'm superior to you. They end up doing things in which way they find to be the best and forget about what you think. This is what we're gonna do.
But it's true. Like you can do that. Like right now, like we're in a recession, and the only thing they do is say, well, the old definition of a recession isn't recession anymore, and the economy's doing great. And most people are stupid enough. They just, oh, okay, well, the person on TV told me that the economy's doing great.
Yeah.
So I can go out
A dozen of
shopping
eggs
now.
costs like $10 now, but they told me the economy's doing great.
I don't get tired of saying this, but 3 years ago I told you I said this was gonna happen 3 years ago, and I'm nobody.
So you can vote.
I have never voted, and I'm not gonna vote, man, because like I don't want to be responsible for these people's mistake. The current guy is not my leader, man. No offense to anybody. That's not my leader. That's not who represents me. He doesn't embody my ideals or my way of thinking or my actions. So I don't feel identified with none of these things. I just stay to the side, man. Now some people say, oh, well, you stupid because, but I'm not gonna choose who's gonna trick me. I mean, I don't feel identified with none of them. So what do? Are we gonna keep choosing who as the least worst?
Yeah, basically. That's a choice. That's a decision that you can make.
Yes.
That's the least capable for you.
Well, that's what I think. Like, okay, this person seems to be the least worst.
Least worst capable, yeah.
And that's how I make my ideas. But these people don't represent me. Not at all. This is not my leader for sure. And Ed, I would like to talk about this a little more in a different episode because Ed brought up the fact that this is not the dude that started. Like, it's not the same dude. But I don't want to get too much into that in this episode because then we are.
But coming back to the topic,
Yeah, we're way off.
Had something more to add to it, and that's basically also coming back to your point, Lito, because you said history is based on the person that actually is writing it or decides it, and that is true also for this fact because Slavs were actually enslaved back in the days, back in the I think 1200, around the Renaissance, and even before that they were enslaved by the Austrian-Prussian Empire and also by the other surrounding empires to do tasks. And the Austrian-Prussian Empire, which is the German Empire,
What, do you mean the Austrian-Hungarian? Is that it?
Austrian-Hungarian, that's the one, yeah, my bad. But also the Prussian Empire. So those two were actually getting people, enslaving them to do medial tasks. And because of this, the actual etymology of the word became slaves, because Slavs were actually becoming slaves of the Russian and Austrian-Hungarian empires. And that's where the words still exist today. And I think that's very funny because slaves existed way before that. And who decided that Slavs or slaves would become the way we would name them, while we actually naming some people or some ethnicity, to put it like that.
Okay, I see.
bringing that into concept, it's very, very weird to see that two people that actually are neighbors from each other can go at it as bad as they do. But yeah, there's more to it than the eye sees, and of course they would know because they are living their history and their culture. And I think that's a good point to actually let people know that we don't know where other people stand and which battles they have faced or which paths they come from. So just be aware, be kind to each other, and let each other speak out, speak up, and let them know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, real quick, shout out to those people. I don't know their names. Can you tell their first names without going too much?
Andy and Robert.
Okay, shout out to Sandy and Robert, man, for sparking up the conversation, the history lesson. Actually, there's a lot to learn from this, and maybe this can be something you show them, and they can show you their concerns. Just write it down, be a reporter, and we can continue to get into this, man. Make this very, very interesting.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Thank you for making something out of this, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's
Doing our
good.
best. We're here to learn, so I hope you learn as well in the process.
I didn't know none of these things, so there you go.
Good to know. Thank you for watching Unidentified Podcast, and see you in the next.
We out.